Honesty's always the best policy.
You believe that?
No, I was lying.
Hi, I'm Jim.
Hi, I'm Bill with the Kawartha Reporter. We've had another interesting week. It just keeps coming. It's in regards to your property. Would you like to tell the people what we've uncovered on it?
Oh, well, we listed it for sale on the commercial market. A substantial, not a bad amount of money. But we found that the city has put that I can have a licensed grow out there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because I'd never asked for that. They just put it on for whatever reason. So now we've put that in our advertisements that you can have a legal grow out there.
It's the opportunity.
Yes, the opportunity to have one.
Yes.
So, Jim, the question a lot of people may not understand is it legal for the municipality to change your original zoning and zoning content?
No, they can't change it without, just like the original papers I have on my property do not show a conservation area. But on the City of Kawartha Lakes updated copy, it shows that part of my property is conservation. So that is called disguised expropriation. And they can't do this. But we've just found this out recently, so we have 2 years to go after them for it, and we will. So, in fact, you went in and got some papers for me.
Yes, I did. Yeah, and that's where we uncovered this.
Right, and then the girl what did the girl say to you?
The girl says to me that they passed this in council, and they added it onto the usage for the property, and they didn't have to contact the owner of the property. Because he would like to be glad that they added this additional usage. And my comeback to her was that, what if he isn't? And she says, well, why wouldn't he be? I mean, we've had a lot of interest the minute that it went online and went on to MLS from, should we say, growers that now see that they can move into Kawartha Lakes and build themselves a legal production processing and packaging facility at that location. So what we did was we sent an email to the building, planning, all the departments within the city to see whether or not they would approve permits on that property to build such a facility. And that went out to them this afternoon. So
the other part I was talking about was when they designated part of my property as conservation.
Yes.
Right? You asked about that,
and
the girl had something to say about that.
Well, she said likely if you were going to put this type of facility on there, conservation then would remove that restriction on the property.
My question is how can they put it on without me knowing, and then how can they take it off if they want to?
That seems to be the norm with the City of Kawartha mistakes. That if it's in their best interest, they do it. If it's not in their best interest, they do it anyways. It doesn't seem to matter. It seems almost to be if they feel like doing it, they do it. If they don't feel like doing it, they still do it.
So in other words, they don't mind breaking the law
as
long as it's in their favor.
Well, this is what we've uncovered, that this is almost like I keep going back to Hazard County.
In my county, marijuana. You know, I never more than disliked them Duke boys, but what they're doing now, pushing marijuana, why, that's downright hateful. Hateful.
Unless maybe it ain't marijuana, Mr. Hall. Kind of looks like parsley. Sage?
What?
Rosemary or thyme?
Never mind the folk songs, dim head. It's marijuana. I can smell it.
Listen, I can smell it too, Richard.
And even I draw the line on dope and drugs for any amount of money.
Me too.
Any amount.
Any amount.
I bet there's a reward in all this big enough to choke a plow horse.
Like where you got Boss Hogg, that's Boss Emsley, and you got the sheriffs and the bylaw, and you got the planning, and you got everybody in there, and they just seem to do whatever they feel like doing the day.
Okay, well, now you're talking about Hazard County and that.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell us what you found out about our counselors today?
This is just, I knew it was there. I mean, we're sitting in when they're swearing in their oath on October the 16th. And we knew right then, Doug and I, that they lied. We knew they lied. When they had to swear the oath, they didn't take any money from the public to fund their campaign. And they didn't owe any favors to anybody for taking any money from the public to fund their campaign. Well, I've been waiting patiently till March 31st came, which was the deadline that they all had to file. Well, my goodness. There's there'd be 7 dirty ones, and we got 2 clean ones. Now, it doesn't mean that these guys are any cleaner than these guys. It's just that they funded their own campaign. This pile here took money from anybody that would donate the money. It's unbelievable. A lot of them are from the GTA. I'm assuming that they're developers or they're friends of developers. But again, they lied under oath when they swore in. So what we're saying very clearly to these people that know they lied on October the 16th when they took oath of office, they have a choice.
Well, Cletus, I'll tell you what to look hard for. Look hard in your pay envelope next week, because stupidity is subject to withholding tax. You dipstick!
They either resign their position, and that's the mayor and the deputy mayor and the other 5 councillors that breached, I would say, the trust of the people.
You should name who they are.
Well, I guess I could. One is Doug Emsley, the mayor, Tracy Richardson, the deputy mayor, Eric Smeaton, Mike Perry, Pat Warren, Ron Ashmore, Charles McDonald, and did I forget anybody? I hope not. Because the only 2 that didn't breach was Emmett Yeo and Dan Joyce. So all the other ones that were on council right now breached their oath of office. So if they have any decency, which I doubt they don't, and any morals, the first thing that they need to do at the next council meeting is resign their position on council.
My constituents, as your elected representative, I can assure you Labour's right, management's right. I'm strictly neutral.
Labor, management, politicians, phooey. They can't tell corn from oats.
That's what most people do when they get caught, don't they? You know? Usually. If they have any decency about them whatsoever, right? And apologize to the taxpayers and the public for misleading and lying when they swore their oath of office, right? And the other big concern we really have, which is even bigger than what's been done here, is our federal government, about how they're trying to move Canada and the rest of the, I guess it'd be the G21, it might even be most of the countries in the world, to this digital currency. That's a big concern, huge concern. Because if they are allowed to do this, they may have full control of our lives from that day forward. They'll know what we have in our bank accounts. They'll know how we spend our money. There won't be any more what we would call Canadian cash. It won't exist. You'll use your card like you do now, your debit card or your MasterCard or whatever, and that'll have the amount of money that's in your bank account. Your money then will get deposited by whoever, your employer, or if you sell your house, by the lawyer, into that account. Now, what they've said to try to soften the blow is that if you have more than one account in a number of banks up to $100,000, the government has put a position, they will protect up to that amount. So it means for a lot of people, you'd better do something with your money before this happens. I still believe this is done in order to stamp out black market trades where the government doesn't get any taxes from it. I believe it's a way of controlling the currency exchanges, because I know there's a lot of people make that difference on the dollar between the US and Canada that they can't tax, where now they'll be able to incorporate that into a tax because they'll know how much money came into that account. Because again, these are really concerning things that the government's proposed to do. I mean, this is communism at its fullest.
Well, your life won't be yours.
It's not now.
No,
I mean, they know. I mean, it's not now. I mean, there's serious side effects to this. I mean, again, if you look at the States and you have Medicare and you pay for that service, how are the poor people going to be able to afford or pay for that? You know, I mean, this has far-reaching ramifications.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, well, that's enough. You can get jailed, shot, and then a few months later get shot. Even that crusty old uncle who resists, unvaccinated, cannot be free.
We must continue to turn citizens with real anxieties against their neighbors,
their family members. The federal government doesn't care if we're tired of restrictions. It's going to keep doing what it does anyway to hold back, to starve unvaccinated. Well, that's enough. Don't think you can get on a plane or a train. You cannot be free.
As a government, we will always stand with Moderna on the lucrative side hustle of mRNA vaccines. Money, 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 money.
To twist the truth and distort reality for Canadians.
Propagate hateful messages.
And the younger generations have got so used to not carrying cash, where you and I, that's what we survive on, is cash, that they think, and they may think this is a great thing, because they did it, they had the test through COVID, you know, where we couldn't get access for a period of time there, right? And if you didn't have cash when everything crashed, you couldn't buy gas, you couldn't get food.
Couldn't buy anything.
You couldn't buy anything if you didn't have that cash. Well, can you imagine we're set up on digital money and the system crashes, and that's the only form of currency we have is that card. And there's no cash and won't be accepted as Canadian money anywhere in Canada. Can you imagine the impact that that's going to have on a lot of people? I mean, we have people that don't even use computers. Older people, they still go to the bank and withdraw their cash, and they pay their bills in cash, you know?
Agenda is the possibility of total surveillance of every single one of us. And the way the WEF could achieve this is by us requiring a new form of identification. The World Economic Forum suggests that every single person on the planet will receive a new form of digital ID, which they say would help promote a world of inclusion where everyone has more access to basic services. But they also suggest this ID could be linked to absolutely everything in your life. It could be required to book plane and train tickets and track where it is you're going. This digital ID would be needed to access social media. the internet, bank accounts, and even a requirement in order to spend your money. And without your ID, it's possible you may not be able to buy anything at all. And who would control your digital ID and the data it contains? Well, of course, your government would. In short, absolutely every action you take in your modern life could be tracked by this new type of personal ID. What your online habits are, where you go, what you buy online, what you say online, and so much more. And if you think this kind of a system is a little bit worrying, well, you're not the only one that thinks this way. Just recently, Kenya's High Court ruled a digital ID system to be illegal in the country because they fear it could be abused by the government in order to violate a person's basic right to privacy. Where would you be carrying this new form of ID? Well, according to the WEF, you could be carrying it inside your body. In his book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, Schwab talks heavily about how RFID chips could be used to track goods and packages around the world, enabling our economy to become significantly more efficient. But in referencing the same technology, he also said this: in the near future, similar monitoring systems will also be applied to the movement and tracking of people. He also says that the fourth industrial revolution will lead to a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities. Echoing this on the website, the WEF discusses a future where electronic implants could become a relatively normal part of human life.
So all we're trying to say is that I think the public need to really wake up and be paying attention what the federal government, the liberals, and other countries around the world are trying to move us to. And what they said, this will be a very smooth transition. You know, it's a 30-day process, you know, and when it's all over, it's just going to be so much easier. You won't have to worry about somebody looting you because you'll have no cash. You won't have any cash, right? You'll have that card, you know.
Instead of a 4-hour wait to talk to somebody from the government, it'll be a 40-hour wait.
Well, I think the way this is going to be is the government looks at it this way. They know that there's a lot of money that gets moved offshore. They know there's a lot of, should we say, tax evasion. Okay? They think this is a better way that they're going to be able to capture all this lost tax revenue. It's like what I said, the COVID tax. They created $600 billion digital. It's not money borrowed, it's digital. So they've tried it. They put that money out there under COVID to people, put $2,000 every 2 weeks into your account. Man, was that nice. Then all of a sudden now they're sending out letters to everybody that you got to justify that $5,000 income that you made, or you're going to have to pay it all back. So now what's happened is Trudeau's come up with another way, a test, right? He puts digital currency into the system. It's caused huge problems, inflation and everything else amongst the population. Then he turns around now and he says, now it's time to pay it all back to the government in hard, cold cash. I don't know how they're going to run a program like that again with this digital way when there is no cash. Like it's really confusing.
Well, once the digital ID and digital currency comes into place, when the federal government and our flawed prime ministers change their mind, they'll just have full access to your account and everyone else's.
Mm-hmm. Just make it easier to seize the accounts like they did for the truckers protesting.
Well, there was another test the government tried.
Yeah.
They brought invoked the notwithstanding the Emergency Act, and they seized people's bank accounts, and they locked down their everything, took everything they had, and the people had no proof of what they had in their accounts.
Well, but on the other hand, okay, the governing body that looked into that said that Trudeau did everything right.
Mm-hmm.
But today was the first argument in the Supreme Court of Canada, and this is the one that's going to prove whether he did it right, because now it's coming down to the law and our rights.
We see, there's where we go back again. Our Charter of Rights were trampled on during COVID. This now is another exercise of digital currency that takes away all our rights and freedoms. Because it's going to be hard for us to prove how much money we actually have in our account when they have control and access to our account. So how are you going to prove that? It's really concerning. And
well, the interesting part would be just wait till your next speeding ticket.
Yeah.
You hand over your digital ID with all your banking information, and the OPP officer or the RCMP or whoever says, screw that nonsense. I think I need $1,500 from you right here now. Thank you very much. And you won't know until you're back home.
Grand Rising, everybody. I was checking out Ontario's government website where they explain the digital ID, and I found something and I'd like to share it with y'all. So here's where the government goes over it with us. They tell you what it is and what it isn't. It's convenient, it's secure, it's verifiable, it's in your control.
Correct. I mean, does anybody have a brain in government to think this foolishness all through?
Oh, no.
Attack politics, divisive politics, negative, stirring up of hate and fear and differences. The dirty secret is they work. Mm-hmm. Even back in 2015, they work to get you elected.
Sure, yeah.
You can do that. You can mobilize and get elected.
They've thought it through. It all works in their favor.
Well, I think it was like legalizing marijuana. They thought it was going to be a windfall. They were going to take in billions of dollars of taxes. They were going to stamp out the black market. And look what's happened. Oh, they're closing their production facilities.
It's huge.
It's huge losses.
It's huge.
Now they're going to try this game. And you know what I've told people? Take as much cash that you have out of the bank and put it under your pillow, put it somewhere. Because I'm going to tell you something. It's no different than when they tried cannabis to stamp out the black market. We will still deal in cash. It'll be Canadian cash traded between people just like we've always found a way to do it. So if the government thinks that they're going to beat us, you better try real hard and get up real early in the morning.
Cuba's been doing it for years.
Exactly. But all I can say for Bill, this is a Korth Insider.
Have a good night.
America is many things to many people. To a 17-year-old kid, it's the malt shop on the corner. To Grandpa, it's the front porch in the cool of the evening. To Mother and her family, it's church on Sunday morning. And to Dad, it's his favorite relaxation. It's the Cracker Barrel philosophers in Crabtree Corners. And it's the tycoons in Wall Street. It's all races, creeds, and religions. It's freedom to work at the job you like. Freedom of speech and to peaceably assemble. Freedom to own property. Security from unlawful search or seizure.
Where's your warrant, Flatfoot?
The right to a speedy and public trial. Protection against cruel punishments and excessive fines. The right to vote. And to worship God in your own way. It is these freedoms that have made America strong.
Okay, so we got our freedom. But management's lousing up everything.
Labor is at fault. It's ruining the country. My constituents, as your elected representative, I can assure you Labor's right. Management's right. I'm strictly neutral.
Labor, management, politicians, phooey. They can't tell corn from oats.
It's only taking money out of
Strike! Hurry, step right up, folks. Here's the answer to your problems. Dr. Utopia's sensational new discovery, ism. Ism will cure any ailment of the body politic. It's terrific. It's tremendous. Once you swallow the contents of this bottle, you'll have the bountiful benefit of higher wages, shorter hours, and security. Enormous profits, no strikes. Remember, you're the big boss. Government control, no worry about votes, name your own salary, bigger crops, lower costs. Why, ism even makes the weather perfect every day. And now then, because we are introducing this amazing item for the first time in this country, it isn't going to cost you 1 cent. All you have to do is sign this little scrap of paper, and you get your bottle absolutely free.
I hereby turn over to ISM Incorporated everything I have, including my freedom and the freedom of my children and my children's children, in return for which said ISM promises to take care of me forever.
Get out of the way!
Pardon me.
And who are you, my good man?
I'm John Q. Public.
Ah, my fine friend, you're just in time to share this generous and gigantic offer. Sign right here.
Mind if I read it first?
Hurry up now here!
I was here first. Keep your shirts on, boys. Including my freedom. Freedom? Well, sign away my freedom. Why, this is ridiculous.
Don't be corny, brother.
Sure, our system of free enterprise isn't perfect. But before we throw it away for some imported double talk, let's turn the clock back a few years to see what it's done for us. For example, back in the 1890s, Joe Dokes was just a guy who liked to tinker around his barn. Some people thought Joe was lazy. Some even thought he was nuts. But one day, he had an idea. And because he was free to dream his dream and tinker, Joe had a chance to make something of himself and his idea. So, of course, some people didn't think so much of Joe's idea. But that didn't stop him. So Joe got some money from young Aunt Minnie and Uncle Angus and Grandpappy and Mr. T.I.P.S. When Joe's friends and relatives used their savings to help him buy tools and property, they were capitalists. Don't blush, folks. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Now, naturally, Joe needed some help. So he hired Willie Lumpkin, who was out of work anyway, and before long, Willie had the know-how and became skilled labor. Because capital, management, and labor worked together, Joe's idea grew. It grew and did things even he never dreamed of. Today, the automobile industry provides millions of jobs that never existed before. And remember, this is a story of only one industry. There are thousands more scattered all over the United States whose history of development is pretty much the same. We've built a country under the American system that sends more young people to high school and college than all the rest of the world combined. Why, even in the Depression, our wages bought more food, clothing, travel, and entertainment than the wages of any other people in the world. Our country has a national income equal to the total national incomes of any other 6 nations in the world. With only 7% of the Earth's people, we drive 70% of the world's automobiles. That's just a sample of the things the capitalistic system has given us in only 160 years. Before signing up, you boys ought to try a little taste of Dr. Ism's formula to see what you'd get in exchange for your freedom. Go ahead, try it.
You can't do this to me! I'll strike!
The state forbids strikes.
Wait till the union hears about this!
Ah, yes, the union. Welcome to our ranks, number 1313.
I
I'll take this case to the Supreme Court. The state is the Supreme Court. Our decision is as follows. No more private property. No more you.
The farm folk will put a stop to this.
Farmers don't vote anymore.
What'll they do for seed next year?
You won't have to worry about next year. The state will do your planning from now on. We must fight to regain our freedom, or everything is lost. Everything!
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
When anybody preaches disunity, tries to pit one of us against the other through class warfare, race hatred, or religious intolerance, you know that person seeks to rob us of our freedom and destroy our very lives. And we know what to do about it.
And now, gentlemen, no violence, please. Don't throw those bottles. Don't throw those bottles. No! Oh, no! No! Hey! Oh! Hey!
Working together to produce an ever greater abundance of material and spiritual values for all. That is the secret of prosperity.
That's all, folks.
This tribunal is convened. Strength to the Empire.